Hello there everyone, welcome back to BrokeNbricks. My name is Owen, and today I'm going to be giving my thoughts on the recently leaked next LEGO Lord of the Rings set. And the first bit of information that we got on this was from the very reliable BrickTap, and that is going to be set 11395 called Oliphaunt, and it will have 2017 pieces and come out on the 1st of January 2027. And the set is said to be a diorama set with a huge brick-built Oliphaunt, and will also include minifigures, which sounded great until we got this next bit of information from Mûmak Battle, who is saying that the name of the set is Mûmak Battle, and it will have only 3 minifigures, which is very not good, and I'll get to that later, but we'll just talk about the actual build of the set first. So all of the bigger Lord of the Rings icon sets so far have primarily been location based, so this Oliphaunt is going to be quite different. It does say that there's going to be sort of a diorama, so I'm sure there will be some of the Pelennor fields included, but most of the piece count is probably going to be going towards the Oliphaunt. I'm very excited for this. I really like the Oliphants, and we never got one before, so it definitely feels overdue, and yep, this is going to pair very nicely with the Minas Tirith set. And then the reference images that people have been using is from the Two Towers, but I am 99% confident that this set is going to be based on Return of the King. Just because the Pelennor Fields is definitely the more iconic Oliphaunt scene. And also the Palantir in the Minas Tirith set did tease the Pelennor Fields was coming next. So for the diorama, I'm kind of imagining that this is going to have sort of like a display base for the Oliphaunt, like what the Jurassic Park sets do with the dinosaur fossils. So that would be a nice way to depict the Oliphaunt as being part of the battlefield, but I just kind of hope that they don't use too much of the piece count on that. They do quite often make these large display bases for models that kind of don't really need it. Yes, LEGO Pokemon, everyone is looking at you. So now I'm going to jump back to the disappointing rumour that this set is only going to have 3 minifigures, and I don't think that's going to be the case. I really don't see how they can do this with only 3 minifigures. And it is worth noting that Mûmak Battle in the comments did imply that that's not necessarily confirmed, so there is definitely a chance that there could be more than 3. So with the leak saying that the Oliphaunt is going to be huge, I can't imagine it being small enough that it scales with nano figures more appropriately than minifigures. But if the set really only does have 3 minifigures, then my best guess would be that there aren't actually any riding on the Mûmak, and there's just 3 that are part of the battle. Because the alternative is that we get 2 Haradrim soldiers and one of the guys riding the Mûmak, and that just feels like the Mûmak would have way too few minifigures on it. And if they were going to go down that route of just having minifigures on top of it, you would definitely expect a lot more than just 2 Haradrim soldiers. And if the name of this is Mûmak Battle, then that does imply that there's going to be some kind of opposing force, which would almost certainly require minifigures. So if we are to assume that this has more than 3 minifigures, I would definitely expect, as I mentioned, one of the Mûmak riders, and then some Haradrim soldiers to go on the back of it. And this is probably me being way too optimistic, but surely they can't get away with not giving us the Witch King of Angmar again. As it stands, we are now 2 for 2 with missed opportunities for icon sets that he definitely should have been in, so hopefully we can finally get him included and fighting against Owen. It'd be really cool to have that battle going on in the diorama next to the Oliphaunt, and yeah, it's just so overdue at this point. Those are the 2 most important characters that LEGO's still never done as minifigures. And if we were to finally get those 2, it would make a lot of sense to get Merry as well in his Rohan attire, and yep, that would pair very nicely with the Pippin from Minas Tirith. So those are the minifigures that I think we kind of need the most, but I could also see them doing maybe a remake of Theoden and Eomer. Theoden was of course specifically teased in the Palantir in Minas Tirith, and also Eomer is quite important in the context of Oliphants because he is able to take down 2 of them with 1 spear throw. And the other option that I thought of would be Legolas and Gimli. They could just kind of reuse the minifigures from Rivendell, except I would really want them to fix Legolas's head and hairpiece. And it'd be really iconic and funny to recreate the that still only counts as 1 scene, and they could definitely do that as a printed quote tile like some of the other diorama sets. So that's kind of my thoughts on the minifigures, and yeah, it will be really disappointing if we only get 3, but if you're like me, you know, just look at the information that we have and take a lot of copium, and then you'll probably think that, yeah, we might get more than 3. And just to kind of sum up my thoughts on this, I am very excited for the Oliphaunt build, but the minifigures are definitely going to kind of make or break this one for me. I feel like I would give them a free pass if we do finally get the Witch King of Angmar, but at the end of the day it's always going to be more disappointing than if we got something more in the region of 7 to 10 minifigures. And one last thing I forgot to mention is that I do find it very exciting that we are getting this in January. The rate that we're getting LEGO Lord of the Rings sets just seems to keep going up. And that fills me with a lot of confidence that LEGO Lord of the Rings is not going anywhere anytime soon, which is really good because of all the childhood trauma that I still have from when it ended in 2013. So that is going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like and consider subscribing to my channel, and do let me know your thoughts on the Oliphaunt and whether or not you think it will just have 3 minifigures. That is all I have to say, so thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.
Good, Anakin, good. Subscribe. Subscribe now. I should. Do it.